somewhere, you have a dream, you have a realization, you are aspiring to be somebody. Let me tell you, you cannot be limited by anything. But in my case, my journey was longer because I didn't have the Holy Spirit. So your starting point would be to receive the Word of God and acknowledge Him as the Lord and Savior of your life. From there, begin to pursue your dreams, begin to pray about them. You will be so surprised at how things will unfold. You'll be so surprised at how easy it will be. You'll be so surprised at how much your mind will be open to thinking, to receiving greater and bigger ideas. But in all that, know that anything is possible. See the vision, have it, write it down, pray about it, and go for it. Of course, you're going to meet obstacles in the way. Who says there won't be obstacles? There will definitely be challenges along the way. But that shouldn't deter you from pursuing your dream. In fact, that only makes you stronger. That actually made me stronger. Hi, my name is Yvonne Katsande, and Yvonne Katsande is a powerhouse. That's how I know myself to be, and that's how I talk about myself. Why do I say Yvonne is a powerhouse? There's a whole lot of things that come together to make me what I am. You could use an example of when you're cooking a recipe. Obviously, there's a whole lot of ingredients that you put together for you to come up with that one special recipe. Let me just take you a little bit back to where I started from, my journey all the way from being a child, rising to fame, a whole lot of other obstacles that I've also come across. Growing up, I grew up in a house where I had 4 siblings, but we were more than 4 siblings because my dad, Papa, was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. I'm sure you would know what that means. We were so many of us. In fact, we were a family of about 18 kids that actually know each other. I don't know about those that I don't know of, but 18 kids that know each other. So growing up, life wasn't really the best. My parents were very well established growing up. My dad was always married to just but one woman, which was my mom, though he had a whole lot of other things going on. And because of that, that kind of complicated life in so many ways that you could think of, you know, mentally, socially, and even physically. So my dad growing up, having all the money that he needed, you know, I grew up a rich, spoiled kid with a house on a hill, everything going on, going to good schools back home in Zimbabwe. I am Zimbabwean, and everything was just so beautiful. But my dad, I think as a way of him trying to run away from all these other problems that used to follow him around because of the things that he did, he would take out all his frustrations on a beer bottle. In fact, he used to drink himself to a stupor, you know, and after he would do that, that would just complicate life. He will become abusive verbally and physically to my mom and even to us kids. So growing up, I think that was one of the worst experiences that I've had to endure, and even having to talk about it, it's not the easiest thing for me. Life could have been better, life could have turned out otherwise. This is how I view things had he been reasonable. But having gone through all that, things took a different turn completely for him and for us, of course, as a family, where he lost everything. He lost his job, he lost his businesses. Things just turned a new leaf, but in a very ugly way. So that forced us to start living in a way that I never thought people actually live in such conditions, but I found myself like that. And that made me struggle a lot in school. And it also made me struggle in terms of making relationships with people. For a few people that know me, that are very close to me, they'll tell you that I'm a very friendly person. But I think I would have been more friendlier had it not been of the things that I went through, actually. Because now I find myself kind of closing up. I wouldn't want to talk to people all the time. I wouldn't want to be sociable all the time. In fact, I'm happy and more than very happy to sit alone and just be in my own comfortable space. But that doesn't mean that I'm not sociable. Neither does that mean that I'm not friendly. I definitely am. But all I'm just saying is that these were certain things that I had to go through in my life that took me to where I am. However, having said all that, I started thinking and recreating my world. It had been destroyed from what I thought it would be. And I had a very dim black picture of what life could be. I never thought things could be better. Then I started recreating my world. I started to be a lawyer, and I actually didn't finish off my degree of being a lawyer because there was a whole lot of family things that needed to be attended to. In fact, I found myself taking responsibility at a very tender age where I had to give up my studies to go to work and then earn some money to pay bills. I actually saw my 2 lost siblings to school. I had to take them to school. I had to pay their school fees. So I found myself actually working more than I would have wanted to study. Both my parents were out of work. Their businesses had all been run down. I had to be the only one who could take responsibility. I had other siblings, but they were from other mothers and they had life going on, but they were not interested in helping us in our family. So I had to be the one to take responsibility. Stay tuned with phenomenal woman Yvonne Katsande. You're still watching High Definition with the phenomenal woman, Yvonne Katsande. I followed my passion. My passion was always to be in a court of law and argue. I do argue a lot and I do defend people a lot. But I think I found that and I got that from the time where I had to be defending my mom when my dad was physically abusing her and defending my siblings when my dad would just lose it. I found myself defending. So I thought, you know what, if I become a lawyer, that will be it. That will fulfill my dream and maybe just close out that hole that I had when I was growing up. Life took a different turn. As I was working and also, trying to get my studies together, I actually was working for an advertising company. How I got into advertising, I can't really explain it because it was never anything that I actually wanted to do. So as I was working in an advertising company and I was actually managing a portfolio in that advertising company, I was approached by a cinematographer, and he said that, this is back home in Zimbabwe, and he said that he wanted somebody to act in a soapie that was coming up, but he needed somebody with a particular character, and that character, they had been auditioning people for it and they couldn't seem to find that character. So he says, I remember I've spoken to you on several occasions and you seem to just carry that character. I played Sarah Newton in Studio 263, that was a Zimbabwean soapie, more like you could compare it to your generations here in South Africa. And I played Sarah Newton, a very successful businesswoman, a woman who stands up for women's rights and ideas, likes to pursue life and nothing could bring her down. And I thought, you know what, that actually tells a story about me because this is more me. So I went there thinking that I was going to audition, and as I got there, they just looked at me, they spoke to me 1 or 2 things, and they were like, voila, this is the person that we're looking for. You don't need to audition, in fact, we're shooting, and you need to go live right now. I was like, oh my word, okay. But I've always had a mindset where I've always told myself that I can do literally anything and everything, and I know no limitations, and that was exactly the character that I was playing. So this was in 2000, and I played the role of Sarah Newton for a good 6 years. I was in Studio 263. Then I started developing ideas in production. And I told myself that I wanted to do more because I enjoyed being on TV, I enjoyed acting, I enjoyed being out there and people knowing me. In fact, I enjoyed the popularity, something that I never thought of, but I was enjoying this, I was enjoying this space. So I started producing. And then I co-produced a program called This Is Life. This Is Life was sponsored and also co-produced by PS International. This was an American NGO in Zimbabwe sponsoring the HIV and AIDS awareness to the people. And I played an ambassador for PSI, and I produced and presented a program called This Is Life. On that platform, we used to talk about all the factors of life, from hygiene to dating, to how to keep yourself safe from HIV and AIDS, health, name it, everything, schooling, parent to child relationship, and so on. So I enjoyed that. I saw myself flourishing in it, and I went on and on to do that for another 3 years, coupled with Studio 263 on the side, and it was just absolutely fantastic. But I had to leave Zimbabwe to pursue other dreams, bigger dreams, of course, in media and my studies as well. And I ended up here in South Africa. When I was in South Africa, I did quite a lot of adverts and also documentaries, A Healthy You being one of my highest view notes that I can actually talk about because it still shows in Botswana, in other SADC countries, and even in West Africa. I did a documentary on how to keep your teeth healthy, in collaboration with Colgate. And this was all before I joined Love World. I became born again on the 22nd of June, on a big Sunday of 2009, when I came to South Africa, and then I came to Christ Embassy, and then I was born again. They had an altar call, and I said, I'm not stopping at anything. Remember, I'm coming from a different life here. In fact, one thing that I never told you was that I used to consume a lot of alcohol then, because I thought also it was a way of downing my sorrows. You see, I saw that from my dad, and I thought that was the best way. So I also started doing it, but there was no fun in it. There was no production in it. There was nothing in it. So when I came to South Africa, I decided, okay, listen, I need to recreate my world once again. I think things are just not working the way I really wanted them to work. I saw myself somewhere else in a bigger picture, but this was not happening. So what did I do? I came to Christ Embassy after a lady called Sister Maud, she's late now, invited me to come to church, and I honestly thought that she was just crazy. Every day she would come banging on my door, knocking on my door. I would literally run away from her. But she said to me, Yvonne, you need to come to church. I can see something big. I can see something good. God has a purpose. When she said something big, something good, I said, voila, I have been looking for somebody to tell me that. Let me tell you how I actually joined Love World. I gave a testimony in church about how I had been applying for jobs at DSTV and MultiChoice and all that, and those people had not been responding. So I stood up and I used my faith, and I said, you know what, I am hoping those people will reply me, even if it was a full stop. But in this week, I receive a word of Rhema. Those people are going to definitely respond to me. And when I did that, Pastor Orsi was watching, and she thought, okay, fine, I'm well presented. And then they were just starting a news unit. That was in November of 2009. Then Pastor Tayo approached me and said, you know what, I actually want you to audition for news. So I said, okay, fine, let's go for it. You never know. So that's how I started, from being a news anchor to being a field reporter. And now I'm a producer, a news anchor, a field reporter. Like, I'm a total package. And I keep pursuing bigger things. In my milestone as being a Love World News presenter and a Love World Sat producer and all that, I have met a whole lot of people. My specialty is business and politics. And in that journey, I have met a whole lot of senior political officials. I have even shook hands with Pastor Chris. In fact, I've even had the opportunity and the blessing to sit in the same room with him in a celebration at the Love World News stuff awards. I've even won several awards. In fact, if you come to my house, you'll see I've even got one cabinet that is filled with awards from top to bottom, and I'm still receiving them. So this is my life journey, but obviously in brief, there's more to it, but this is me. How do I best describe myself? What one word best describes me? I'll tell you, I'm a phenomenal woman. So phenomenal is the only way you can describe me, because phenomenal means a whole lot of things, all encompassed, all housed in that one word. So I believe, and I know for certain, that I am a phenomenal woman. This is Worldview, and thank you for joining us live from our studio in Johannesburg. I'm Yvonne Katsande. Now, today on Worldview, we speak to Michael Tellinger. Now, being a TV personality has, I will not use the word changed me. I would rather prefer to use the word empowered me. How has this empowered me? In a whole lot of ways. First and foremost, I got the popularity that I've always wanted. So everywhere I go, people are like, oh, we know you. You must be Yvonne Katsande. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. But also, having gained that popularity, I learned one thing that has been really, really humbling to me, is the fact that when people look at you and they look up to you, they see something in you, something that they also want to emulate. That means a lot to me. I've met girls that have told me that, you know what, Yvonne, we really admire you, we like you, when we see you, we just think, oh wow. So as a result, I have started on something new. I'm starting a new project, and it's called the Phenomenal Woman Project. In this project, all I'm simply doing is getting together females from all walks of life, especially young girls that also have a dream to have a career in media. And all I do is train them in the same way that I was also trained to be who I am. And so that when they look at me, they can now make reference and say, you know what, Yvonne did this. She helped us do this and do that. Being an ambassador, giving back to the community, that is how it has really empowered me. So it's not all about being popular, being fame, wearing some Brazilian hair or one pair of Louboutin shoes. No, it's about giving back to the society, impacting other people's lives and making a meaningful difference. So this is how I relate to me being a TV personality. Keep watching High Definition with phenomenal woman Yvonne Katsande. You're still watching High Definition with the phenomenal woman, Yvonne Katsande. I believe passion for something gives you the drive, the strength for you to do something. But in my case, it's where I'm coming from and the things that I have been through. I want to make a difference. And there are no limitations. I did say right from the word go that I know no limitations in my life. You cannot limit me to what I want to do, because I have this passion, I have this drive, I have this will, I have this knowledge. I want to do it. But above all, having been through that and me being now, being born again, I honestly believe that the wisdom of God and the Holy Spirit, the strength that leads me to do it. Had I been doing it maybe in a different realm, it might have not been as successful as it is now. But you see, when you're in God, your footsteps are guided, they will not slide. So for me, it's the passion, yes. It's the drive, it's the willpower. It's my personal story that I have to tell. But also, I will not forget, above all, I believe and strongly believe that it is God's will. We are spiritual beings, and when God has set a path for you to follow, you have no choice but to comply with that. I did mention that it was never my intention to be a media person. In fact, being a journalist was like a cursed job to me. How can one be a journalist running after people, running after this person, having to ask these questions? I thought it was just dirty and sweaty, and it wasn't anything that people would recognize in the society. But in the world that we live in today, it is actually something. 1, I have met people. 2, I have produced, and I continue to do that. And 3, here I am making an impact in other people's lives. So I really thank God for this opportunity. Had it not been for Him, then it would have been a different story again, I suppose. It hasn't been all rosy, as most people would see me and think, oh wow, she has it all going on a silver platter. No. Being a powerhouse, I had to work hard. I had to pursue. I had to fall down and pick myself up and keep going, just for me to reach where I am. And I haven't really stopped. I'm still going because I have a vision, and that is the vision that I'm trying to fulfill. Because right now on the platform that I'm standing, no matter which way the wind blows, from the right, from the left, from the front, from the back, I still stand firm because I know who I am, I know what I want, and I am going for it. So whatever situation you're finding yourself in right now, my word to you is that there is a solution. There has always been a solution, and that solution is just waiting for you to realize it. Go for it, because once you realize that your dream and you pursue it and you have it, you make it manifest in the physical, that means you're also going to change somebody's life. Who knows, you're perhaps also going to create employment for other people and a whole lot more. It's like a chain. It keeps going and stretching on and on and on. It never ends. So go for it. Don't stop. Also, learn from other people. I did the same. I was mentored by a few people. I'm still being mentored by a few people because I'm being mentored to be a mentor to other people. So if you have other people in your sphere that you know you can reach out to and they can help you, go ahead and ask them to help you. If you're a young lady who is pursuing media dreams and you feel you need mentoring, I'm here. I'm definitely here. Find a way of getting in touch with me. We'll get in touch and we'll follow that dream, we'll pursue it, and we'll make it happen. So don't give up. Fear cripples the mind. It definitely cripples the mind. And when you procrastinate, you're fearful, you're in doubt, that cripples your mind completely. And when your mind is crippled, you don't see the brighter picture, you don't see the bigger picture, because obviously it's clouded by doubt. So how do you overcome it? You can only overcome it by going through it. How will you know what it is like if you don't experience it? I think the greatest teacher is that you experience it and know what it is like, and then only then you can say, you know what, I'm scared of this, or I'm not doing this, or I'm doing that. So you have to go through it. You have to go through certain things. Just somehow, I don't know, gather yourself up, have the courage to go through it. But you have to go through it. You can't always avoid every situation. Neither can you have anything else easy and on a silver platter. You see, if you look at the most successful people in life, they've had to face those challenges face to face and took them head on. You can mention all the famous people that you know, all the most successful people that you know in life. They've had to face that fear straight in the eye and take it by the horns, So you have to go through it. You have to go through it. In fact, I'll say it for the third time, you have to go through it. Only when you go through it, you would know what it is. You would know the experience. Then you can overcome it.